There are a number of things that Jesus says in the Gospels that are a little bit questionable and seem kind of harsh. One of those is from Mark chapter 9, verses 43 through 47. I'm going to read those to you right now. It says, Jesus says, "If your hand causes you to sin, cut it off. It is better for you to enter into life maimed than with two hands to go into Gehenna, into the unquenchable fire. And if your foot causes you to sin, cut it off. It is better for you to enter into life crippled than with 2 feet to be thrown into Gehenna. And if your eye causes you to sin, pluck it out. Better for you to enter into the kingdom of God with 1 eye than with 2 eyes to be thrown into Gehenna." That is a pretty harsh teaching from Jesus. What does it mean? And in particular, what does it have to do with temptation and sin? If you watched yesterday's video, we talked about temptation, talked about Jesus' 40 days in the desert, how he was tempted, and saying no to those temptations consistently was able to make him stronger. And I want to clarify, using that Bible passage there, that what was said in that video, the idea of healthy temptation and saying no consistently to temptation being a good thing for you, does not mean to go seek out temptation. If something in your life causes you to sin, as Jesus says in this passage, cut it out of your life. If you're in a poor environment, you're around bad people, there are certain objects or things within your everyday life that cause you to fall into sin, cut them off. Cut them out of your life. What the question really comes down to in terms of what is a healthy or justified temptation in your life, a possibly beneficial temptation, would be coming down to this humbling personal question of, can I stand up to this temptation? Can I face this temptation? Am I strong enough? To give somewhat of a light example, as I have mentioned, have given up animal products for Lent. I've gone vegan for 40 days. I currently have 2 boxes of cookies sitting on my desk. Now I know that I can be pretty well committed enough to this vegan for 40 days that those temptations on my desk are enough to sit there and make me think every so often, like, man, those look good. I would love to have some of those cookies. But it's something that I know that I can be strong enough to consistently say no to every day. And that helps to build the discipline and the character of saying no to things and staying consistent with my goals. But as another example, say you are in a friend group, that group of people, whenever you hang out with them, you end up doing some questionable things, some things that are probably not the best for you, and you don't have much say in that friend group, and you know that it's hard for you to stand up in the face of the temptation that group provides, that environment provides. That is a situation where you have to stop and say, I'm not in a position, I'm not strong enough to face this temptation. And that's where this comes into play, where you say, I need to cut this out of my life. And for each situation, for any of the temptations in our lives, things that have the potential to draw us away from our goals, away from being the best version of ourselves, and even into sin, the question becomes, can I face this? And maybe it's, I can't face this now, but I may be able to face it later. And part of that might come with, I need to cut this entirely out of my life right now because I'm just not spiritually, physically, mentally in a place where I can face this temptation. But as I can build myself in other areas of my life, then down the line, I'll be able to face that temptation, say no to these negative things, and say yes to the good things. So again, absolutely do not just seek out temptation. But something like fasting is a practice that can help us to build some discipline in our lives. If it's something that we can commit to, that we know it will be a test, but something that we can stand up to. But as Jesus says in Mark chapter 9, if there are things in your life, people, things, environmental factors that are drawing you away from making good decisions, being the best version of yourself, cut them out of your life, which may be easier said than done, but it's worth it to be the person that God has called you to be.